Hey guys, welcome back to the channel.
Welcome back.
So today we're gonna go for a little drive, but we wanted to talk about something that's near and dear to us, that's also important to us.
And then we realized that we've been very inactive, and we just want to continue, or we want to get back on the train of sharing our hearts with you guys. We have, over the past couple of weeks, we've realized that a lot of persons have been getting married, and persons have been coming for advice and so on. Mind you, we're not perfect
guys,
in any way,
and we're also just starting on this thing.
So it's 1st of August. On the 28th of August, we're gonna celebrate 3 years of marriage, but we've been together for almost 10 years. But we got together in 2014.
2014? 2016, guys.
2016.
It seems Shamin does not watch our previous videos.
So that was a mistake. We got together in 2016.
Yes.
Right? So it's been about 8 years.
Thereabout, yes.
Right? So we've been married. We're going to be married for 3 years. And these years have been, yes, they have been ups and they have been downs. But all in all, they have been happy. We've been happy. And we have learned to work through some very tough situations.
Some tough stuff.
Yeah.
So today the video that we're just gonna want to share about building strong marriage foundations. That's what we want to talk about today.
So over the course of the next couple of weeks, we'll be releasing one video a week based on different topics related to marriage and touching a bit on dating, but mainly focusing on marriage.
It's like our marriage series.
So this will be our marriage series. So like Rashad said, we're going to be speaking about building a strong foundation, when it comes to marriage.
So stick around, guys, and I hope that you guys are blessed by this video.
Hey there, I'm Shamaine.
And I'm Rashad.
And we're the Prospers. So we have our little friend in the back there, our princess.
If you guys can
so you would
her.
hear her from time to time with her baby talk. She enjoys playing by herself, I realize. Her teacher says she plays very well by herself.
Azzy girl, say hi.
Azaria.
Nope, she is not happy.
She looked, babe.
Oh, she did?
When I said Azaria. But anyways, so one of the, like we said, we're going to be speaking about building a strong foundation in your marriage, and we're just going to be touching on some key points that we've realized over the years of being together, and observing.
Sorry, the camera was falling aside.
And observing other couples, some key points that we realize that are important when it comes to building a strong foundation in your marriage. And the first point is effective communication. So in effective communication, let's go back to creation, right? God spoke and the world became. So God didn't just sit down and thought of the world, of creating the world, and expected that everything to come into place.
Oh, I like that. That's a very interesting
spoke.
Point. He spoke. So
yeah. So from his mind.
So the world was not a mind reader. Creation was not a mind reader. That's what you're saying.
Exactly.
I see where this is going. I love where this is going.
Right? So God spoke and things became. Things happened that were not there. Right? So remember this, especially wives. We have to speak. We have to express what we want, what we're thinking. And a lot of the times I am guilty of this, where I think
preach it.
Where I think that my husband should know something. Ooh. When in fact men think so differently. Sometimes they don't even think about the things that we think about.
Ooh,
like the chores, picking up the clothes off of the floor. It's like they're oblivious to these things, and we have to communicate things to them.
So that's in defense of men out there, it's not to say that we're oblivious. I just think that the level of priority that we place on certain things is not as high as women may put on the exact same thing.
Yes.
So a man may say, okay, the house needs to clean, but I can clean it next week. But a woman will be like, I need to clean this house every single day.
So that's a different topic, right? So that's a different topic. Communication in terms of, doing chores. But we have to learn to express ourselves respectfully, because it's not everything that our spouse is going to think of, and we're a team. we're a team, and we have to learn to keep these channels of communication open. And that's another point as well in communicating effectively, right? We have to, one, actively listen. When our spouse says, babe, I need to speak to you about something, or, in general, when our spouse is speaking, we have to learn to give our undivided attention. I find that that's a sign of respect as well.
Agreed.
When we're having a little discussion, or we're just speaking, we put down the phones, we stop what we're doing so that our spouse knows that, hey, you have me 100%. I'm here. I'm engaged. You're my priority. So we actively listen, and in return, whoever is listening has to actively listen, and listen to understand, and not listen to respond. Right? You want to speak about that point, baby?
Yeah, I'd like to give an example of in our marriage.
Go ahead.
But I remember there have been times where, especially even this morning, for example, getting ready to record this video, I had asked Shumin something and she was responding to me, but I was not listening to her response. I felt like
it was no response that you wanted to hear.
Yeah, like as soon as she started responding, I'm just like, bam, respond, rebuttal. And then we ended up having a miscommunication, and it ended up delaying the recording of this video because, you had to be in his feelings for a bit, but ultimately I had to ask my wife for forgiveness. But it's important, because had I let her speak, she was actually going to say something that would have ended with her doing something so that we could start the video right away. But instead I kind of got offended and then didn't let her finish, and then she got offended, and then so it's important, especially as men in the relationship, that because as a man, it's in our nature to want to fix everything. A situation pops up, we want to just fix it. People will come and say, I've been having this issue with this person at work, and my first response is, well, just drop her, just let her go. So we need to learn sometimes as men to just listen. Just listen to get information. If she wants a response, she'll say, babe, what do you think? And that's something that I'm still working on, right?
Yes. And I think another thing is that when in effective communication, the channels have to be open. I should be able to come to my husband with anything, and not shut him down when he comes. If I'm in a mind frame where I do not want to speak about it, or I think that I'm not in a mind frame, I should be able to respectfully say, babe, can we, I know that you want to speak about this, but I'm not in the mind frame. Can we speak about it a bit later? And I should be able to express that respectfully, and then my spouse should be able to respectfully accept that.
That makes sense.
Because sometimes when there's conflict, some parties like to deal with it right away, while there are others that like time to process it and to come down from 100 to get down to 50 or 0. They need time to recollect their thoughts and their emotions. So we have to respect each other's wishes as well when it comes to communication. It's not just forcing the other to listen to you because you want to speak.
Makes sense.
And we have to read the room when it comes to our spouse. Sometimes you have to learn our spouse.
Yeah, like this is one time Shimin wanted to talk about this thing and I was falling asleep. I'm just like, Shimin, can we talk about it in the morning? She's like, no, we talk about it now. I'm like, Shimin, I need to sleep. Like, please read the room.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is very, very important as well. So another principle, building block of building a strong marriage is trust and honesty. In terms of trust, I think one of the main reasons, why you would marry somebody is not just because you love them, but also because, you trust them. You trust them with your life. You trust them with your heart.
Your secrets.
With everything. One thing that my father, he gave me advice one time when we were dating and we were going through that breakup period. He told me that, when you love somebody, you have to be willing and make up your mind that at some point that person may,
Hurt you?
may hurt you. And that is part of the process of love and the process of marriage. So trust and honesty.
Trust and honesty. So I do know that when men get into a relationship, they want to know that they have loyalty. Mm-hmm. A man wants to know that the woman that he's in the relationship with is his 100%, And a woman wants to know that a man that she's with is completely honest with her. I think that those are two fundamental strongholds in a relationship, fundamental pillars in a relationship.
I think I want to go back to the effective communication. Something just came to mind.
Okay.
And persons think that communication has only to do with outside of the bedroom. It's also inside of the bedroom. And I think that's where a lot of problems arise as, married people. Our husbands or our spouses in the bedroom, they probably do stuff that...
It's in the bedroom, I mean during sex?
During sex.
Well, say that, just in the bedroom.
So during sex, we probably don't like what our husbands or wives are doing or they're not doing. And, we just hold it against them and we say, okay, the sex isn't good. But how would they know that they need to improve if you don't say something about it? Sometimes they think that they're doing, such a good job.
I don't know. Part of me feeling that a little... that sounds a little...
No, but it's the truth,
it's you're doing such a good job.
The spouse is so confident in their abilities in the bedroom, But then the other one probably is not being as fulfilled and pleasured as they would like to. And sometimes...
Is there something you want to tell me?
No, babe, but we've been through this before. That's why I can speak about it.
I know.
We've been through it before. But we have to communicate our wants and desires in the bedroom as definitely. In having sex.
Most definitely.
Because like we said before, our spouses are not mind readers.
True.
And they don't know if they're doing a good job or not, but they feel like they're doing a good job.
True.
And we should be able to communicate these things with our spouse. And we have to be open to these criticisms, constructive criticism. Agreed. It's not that your spouse doesn't like you, it's not that your spouse doesn't love you, but they want, we want the sexual life to be improved.
Agreed.
So we have to...
As with every other aspect of marriage.
Of marriage as well. Right? So I just wanted to touch on that.
Awesome.
And that's honesty as well. It comes in honesty. We have to be honest enough with ourselves and with our spouse to let them know when they're doing something wrong, something that we don't like.
And to add to your point, we also need to trust that whatever our spouse is going to tell us out of honesty is not made to hurt us. But it's ultimately we're going to get the water and then the milk.
Okay, alright.
So we need to trust that whatever our spouse is telling us out of honesty is for the betterment of... There are times where, for the betterment of the relationship and not to hurt us. There are times where Shamin will say things that honestly are very painful.
Yeah.
But if I'm able to remove my feelings from what she's saying, she's speaking honestly about something that I really need to change.
Yeah.
And especially being married, we have to come to a point where we can trust that our spouse is not trying to hurt us.
Yeah. And it's a form of holding each other accountable. We're not going to get everything right.
Exactly.
For example, there are situations where persons will come to us or out in the public, we realize that our husband or wives did something wrong. It's not that you're going to correct them there in the moment to embarrass them, but when you get home, you let them know what you did or what you said was very wrong. There are some spouses, even though their spouse is wrong, they would say, okay, my spouse did not do anything. I don't find it was wrong. I have to stand by my man. I have to stand by my woman. That is my responsibility, good or bad. Stand by my person. No.
Yeah.
But when they're wrong, we let them know that they're wrong. It's not just, being and telling them when they're beginning them up when they do something good. It's also,
holding them accountable. Oh, you still know what's right on my mouth.
Right?
Wow.
And like you said, we have to trust each other that whatever we're saying is not meant to hurt you, like you said that before.
Yep.
And also in trust, right? When I met Rashad's best friend was a female, and I realized that Rashad had a lot of female friends as well. And, I had to get to the point where I trust him that he would not hurt me in any way in that aspect as well. I think trust is something that is also built. It is not something that is just appears overnight and to say, oh gosh, I trust my husband 100%. It's like over the time, the course of dating the person, you see who the person is. You kind of see their capabilities, what they're capable of doing to you or not doing to you. And sometimes we enter marriage knowing that some of us that we don't trust our spouses because they have a track record, but we're hoping and praying that it never happens again, or that they don't, like I said, it just doesn't happen again. But we have to, as spouses, in ourselves be a trustful partner, a partner that my my spouse can proudly say that I know my wife will never do that. I know my husband will never do that. But we're humans still at the end of the day, but that level of trust should be there. And honesty as well, because we're humans and sometimes, we go through stuff. We have feelings. So sometimes your husband will come to you and you say, babe, I realize that I've been having and I'm attracted to this person and it's wrong. Even in these situations, we should be able to come to our spouse and express these things. And our spouse should be able to take it well, and not get offended. Oh, you're cheating on me. It's not that,
So I was actually just about to bring up that point that we speak a lot about trust and honesty, but then when trust becomes broken, it's such an important thing that they put the two of them together, because the only way that trust can be restored is through honesty.
Yeah.
Now, not saying that because you're honest, trust will automatically be restored, because some people, depending on how badly the trust is broken, that may be the end of the relationship if the two parties are not willing to work it out. But for those people who genuinely seek reconciliation and they've genuinely repented from what they've done, honesty is the next most important step in order to rebuild trust. It may take a lot longer, but at the end of the day, when you're completely honest, because it makes no sense that you've broken trust with your spouse and then you're not honest with what happened. And then later down, while you're trying to work through the broken trust, stuff keeps coming to light, and then now the person has more issues trusting you because you were never honest about breaking the trust in the first place. So it's important, especially as men, that we can be honest, even as women as well. If something happens in the relationship, something disgusting or something that we're ashamed of, or something that has caused us to lose the trust of our spouse, that we can say honestly 100% this is what happened, and then we can move to working towards reconciliation.
So we touched on effective communication, we touched on trust and honesty, and also we're going to speak about as well mutual respect.
It's important that as spouses we can know where it is that we stand. So a lot of times as men have this, especially the older generation men, they have this mentality that because I'm the man and you're the woman, that there's a particular dynamic that exists. But it's important that as especially modern day men that love their wives, Christian men, we allow our wives to understand that we consider them to be equals in the relationship, but not as subordinates. I was just talking on mutual respect. Baby, anything you wanted to share?
Okay. We have to respect each other's opinions and values. None is greater than the other, none is inferior than the other. Sometimes the other may say things that we don't agree with, but we have to learn to hear them out and see their perspective, see where they're coming from as well, and not just shut them down. Men have this egoistical thing about them, and sometimes some women, we think that because we say it our way is the best way and there's no other way, but we have to just learn to submit as wives, and also to be respectful to each other.
And sometimes it's what happens in a relationship. People have different personalities. I was listening to the podcast with Priscilla Shaw and her husband. Priscilla is the one that's...
Need some paper towels.
Okay, so she's going to get paper towels. Priscilla is the one that's a little bit more outgoing. Her husband is a little bit more soft-spoken, but he's more of the business-minded person. And he respects where she is and she respects what he does in the relationship. It's not a thing where, because she's the public figure, she also has to be the ones answering the emails and doing the contracts and everything. So it's important, especially as spouses, that we understand what each person brings to the table and we allow them to be themselves.
I wanted to touch a little on quality time. A lot of us, we have busy schedules and, we have children and we can get lost in the sauce. But, the same effort that we had put into pursuing our spouse, I think we have to put the same effort into, keeping the marriage going. And if it means, we have scheduled date nights, and sometimes, I also think that there is no shame also in scheduling sex for those, who have busy schedules and there is no time for anything. Be intentional about it. Even if it's not your love language, it's a way of pouring and investing in your marriage. Yes, and connecting with each other. And that is super important. Sometimes the fire in the marriage goes out, and all you need is just some quality time together. To just rekindle that fire, to get to know each other more. And sometimes that's all that you need, just that quality time together. So make that a priority in your marriage as well.
Another thing that we want to talk about is conflict resolution. Kazi. Yeah. All right, so conflict resolution.
There will always be conflicts because each human being is different. Differing opinions, different ways of life, different backgrounds, different cultures. No two human is alike in 100% of the composition, and you will always disagree on stuff, and you cannot run from disagreements. They will happen, but what is important is how you deal with these disagreements.
So how do we deal with conflict in our relationship? I remember we spoke about it in a video last year, but since then, have you found any evolution in the way that we resolve conflict, to at least give an example to?
So what used to happen in the way you resolved conflict before was that you're somebody that likes to tackle things head on, right? You're somebody who likes to tackle things head on and in the moment. But for me, I like to sit, I like to figure my thoughts out, I like to reflect and come back. So you say, babe, I need to deal with it now. We need to speak about it. I say, babe, I really cannot deal with it now. I really cannot speak about it now. They say, babe, we have to deal with it now. And that would be another conflict again, because you're forcing me to speak about it and because you love to talk. Let's talk about it, babe. We have to talk about it. But I'm not ready to talk about it. Just give me a couple hours and sometimes a day. Let me talk it through to myself. Let me think it through, and then we come back.
I'm just laughing because remember I gave the example of the time that I was sleeping and I wanted to talk about it in the morning.
That was a one time when it happened. So it's not a very frequent occurrence on my end.
So it can be that, in as much as in a relationship we have a set way of resolving conflict, like Chimin said, we are human. Sometimes you may just not want to resolve conflict at all, because that night I just was not in the mood to do my usual thing to discuss it right away.
Or sometimes we have very passive partners. Some persons can be very passive. They don't like to talk about things that are the hard things,
which then causes more conflict.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what I want you to remember, that there will always be a disagreement. This is not disagreement to the point of arguing, but you will not agree on everything. But be willing to talk things out and be honest. That's where honesty comes in again.
So even to the party that's a little bit introverted, it's important. Like, if you wanted to continue to be introverted and stay quiet and stay to yourself, stay single. But the fact that you got married, it means that now we have to compromise. We have to meet the other person halfway. We have to,
or sometimes even more than halfway.
That's true.
Giving up your right for peace sake. And trust me, I do that a lot of the times. Because men.
I was about to say me too.
Men feel like they're always right.
Oh my God.
So I would say, babe, you know what? Just for peace sake, you are right. I am wrong. Forgive me, and let's move on. Because we the word in Spanish, gasta, we waste so much energy, being in conflict and not talking to the other and arguing, when we can use this energy just to love on each other. Because the time it takes for you to resolve the conflict and then to get over your feelings, we could have been doing something else constructive in the first place. So we have this thing that's dirty socks, right? Meaning that it's a small matter. There's no need for us to drag it out or get too upset over it. Sometimes you just have to, it happened. It is what it is. Let's move on.
And this phrase actually stemmed from laundry. There was a laundry incident when we were doing marriage counseling, and they were saying that sometimes the husband would always drop the socks on the floor when he comes from work, and he would drop them on the floor right next to the laundry basket instead of putting it in the laundry basket, and the wife would just get on and she would lose it. And then the counselor was saying, what if there exists a world where we say that's just a small thing, we can just take the socks and just drop it in the thing, instead of creating a conflict that lasts sometimes for days and weeks and months, and you vex with your husband just because he doesn't put his socks in the basket, he puts it next to the basket.
So choose your battles.
We have to choose our own battles.
So he has a bad habit of, and I have many bad habits too, right? But he has a bad habit, and when he take off his pants, especially his jeans, he would just throw them wherever. If he's in the living room, he'll just take it off and throw it on the chair. If he's in the bedroom, he'll just take it off and throw it on the table. And I'd always say,
I
babe,
put it at the bottom of the table.
no,
Out of
you
sight,
just
out of
throw
mind.
it. And then I said, babe, you can put your stuff under there. Then you start throwing it under there, we start folding it, and it looks so unsightly. And now you saw what's going in this case, babe, fold the clothes. So what I would do now, I would go and I would fold the clothes nicely. Wherever I meet the pants, I take them and I put them under there and fold them. And he'll come to me, babe, have you seen this pants? Babe, have you seen that pants? So I got tired of arguing. And now he doesn't even know where his clothes is anymore because they're where they're supposed to be.
So another thing that, and especially specifically to that example, we were listening to somebody who came to speak, and she was saying that she and her husband, their clothes are in the closet, and she loves to put her clothes neatly and stuff. The husband just drops his clothes in the closet. They're always on the floor in the closet. They're barely on the hangers, sometimes on the hangers, sometimes on the floor. And she kept going after her husband day in and day out to clean, put his clothes on the hanger, blah, blah, blah. It never happened. So what she did was they just bought a door for the closet. So she's like, you know what, that's my compromise. I'm not going to nag my husband for this, but at the same time, we can put a door over it that it can be completely hidden.
Out of sight,
out of mind. So that's what we call dirty socks. She could have continued to become a nagging wife, making that an issue in her marriage, possibly even have her husband resent her. Or she could just say, you see that? And just close it nicely.
Yeah, and yes, and you're so right. And another thing is that try to resolve your conflicts between each other. But if you realize that it's too hard for you to handle, find a third party that both of you trust, that both of you can confide in, an unbiased third party, and you seek counsel from that third party as well.
So ideally, like we had mentioned in previous videos, your third party should be, or an encouragement, an example of a third party could be a moment your couple. So it's not just an individual, it's the couple being your third party.
Yeah, and avoid going to friends, like we go to our girlfriends and say, my guy do that, my guy do that. A lot of the times our girlfriends are single, and they too have friends, and then they take your business to their friends, to their friends, and their friends take it to their friends, and when you look, everybody knows your business, and that's what we don't want.
And you're going to church and you're like, check that, you know, worship and your husband.
Yep. So keep that circle small and tight. I know what you're thinking. Anyways, right? So that's a conflict resolution as well. So try to.
Continue.
What happened? Why are you laughing?
No, that's so funny. That's a joke that I would make.
I didn't make it as a joke.
No, but sure. I'm starting to rub up on you.
No, you're not, babe. Anyways, right? So that's conflict resolution.
Yeah.
So another point that we want to discuss is, sharing and supporting each other's growth. And in sharing and supporting each other's growth, it's also in their goals, the visions that Did she just throw the passy again? Yes, I know that two shall become one, but don't get so engrossed in your partner's life that you lose yourself. You lose your sense of purpose, that everything is what my husband wants, and it's only what my husband wants. You as a wife should have your own goals that you want to accomplish as well. And sometimes when we have opposing goals or different goals, so we tend to downplay ours so that the other can shine, or we just focus on ourselves. My win is your win. My loss is your loss.
I mean, that's in a good marriage where you have a good partner. Some people, they focus on theirs and neglect the other person's one. So a lot of times men see themselves as the breadwinners, the people who are supposed to bring in the most money in the family, etc., etc. If your wife has an idea, she has a small business, she wants to start something, encourage her. It's about seeing each other through. If your wife wants to go back to school, find out what things that can be done as a man to help your wife be able to go back to school, whether it be starting as part-time to eventually transition into full-time. What can we do to support each other's goals? Because it's not fair of me to say that, okay, I'm making $1 gajillion and Shemaine really wants to go into art. And I'm just like, well, Shemaine, I'm making so much money, there's no need for you to go into art. I think it's important that we support each other's dreams. I don't want Shemaine to just be supported financially, but she feels unfulfilled.
Or you say, art? Why art? Nobody buys art. There's nothing in art. You may not see the vision for it, but your person, has the drive and the knack and the skill for it. Push them.
Yeah, so some baking, catering, making little necklaces, these things that some people may not see as as lucrative, but they end up being very lucrative businesses.
And sometimes it's not just about being lucrative, it's just a sense of fulfillment.
Fulfillment as well.
Yeah.
So by all means, encourage each other. Those who are in the position, if your wife wants to start a business, your husband wants to start a business, encourage them and help them get the business registered, help them look for funding, government funding. It's just, even if the business doesn't succeed, it's just by knowing that you're there to support them. That can make them do so many great things.
Agreed. We save the best for last. And I think this is the most important one. This one, if you have this one, I think, intact, then the roots would branch out into all the others that we have spoken about. And this one is a spiritual connection. It is so important. It is so important as Christian married couples, especially we're young couples, that we remain connected to God. I've seen cases where, and I'm also guilty of it, where, most of the times, or lots of the times, the woman tends to be the more spiritually oriented one. She's the one that would pray often and read the Bible and fast, and we tend to neglect doing it with the partner. So you just focus on our growth with Christ, that we sometimes the husband is there struggling spiritually, and we're just so oblivious at focusing on ourselves, but we have to do it together. As much as we want to do it separately, we're a team now.
But it's so interesting, because even when I've had my moments of struggling with reading my Bible and praying, and you would get up every day, it's some women I can understand, because when you try to bring it up to your partner, it almost like you offend them. And I remember there were times where you would genuinely just try to be like, babe, can we pray together, or can I help you? And then I would just take offense to it. And I think it brings us back to the whole point that we spoke about, honesty and trust. We need to trust that when our partner is being honest about the state of affairs in our relationship, it's not to hurt us as an individual, but it's to make the relationship stronger. It is good that the husband is the head of the family, and the wife and the husband, they work together to move the family together. But sometimes each partner needs help. If you're struggling as the head of the family and you need some help from your wife, she's there for a reason, and God pulled this person out of your rib next to your heart so that she can be here to support you.
And you're very correct. And we have to pray together as a married couple. We have to spend time in the Word together, building ourselves up together, building up each other, and praying for each other in our personal times as well. And even when your partner is sleeping, you get up and you put your hands on your partner, and you anoint your partner, and you pray for your partner. And we cannot make it without God. Trust me, without God in this vessel, we are vulnerable to anything, and we are open to anything. And we need God. We really, really, really need God to guide us, to give us the wisdom to make the right decisions as a couple and individually, because He's the one that brought us together. And I always told Rashad that God brought us together for a reason. He didn't just put us together just because He wants us to be together. There is a divine purpose in this divine connection, right? And I believe that this purpose must be fulfilled before I leave this earth.
I agree.
And we will fulfill it. Marriage in itself is a ministry. And in ministry, the most important person is God. If there is no connection to God and with God, then it makes no sense that you do it at all. So work on your spiritual connection with Christ. Worship together, sing together, pray together, fast together.
If you want to start a YouTube channel together. Something that brings you guys closer and more spiritual.
So for example, when was that? 2022? When did you start a YouTube channel? 2022?
I started in 2020. Oh wow, no, 2023. The first of January 2023. That's when we started our channel.
Okay, right. So he kept saying, babe, I really want to start a YouTube channel, because he was always good with videography and editing and so on since Cuba. And then I just got up one and I said, babe, let's do it. Because he kept talking about it, and I realized that he was very, very interested and he was very passionate about it. And I said, babe, let's do it. And that's how, we encourage each other, So we got up that morning, and he was so excited, like a little child when he gets a new toy. And he told me, babe, put on the mic that way, and we introduce that background and whatever. And I think that goes back to the point where we support each other's vision. I really didn't like it, and I'm still getting
up till the day like today. It's it's sometimes difficult to get the gears going for you to like, babe, let's go do this, or let's take the shot like this, or let's do that, or let's even today I wanted to add some nice B-roll, and she was like, just keep it simple.
But just know that when I'm there, I'm there. I'm the one that came up with the idea, of doing the series, the marriage series. When I'm there, I'm there. I support my man, right? I will not always be 100%, into it, but I get into the groove after a little time, right? So that connection, that spiritual connection, is so important, and I think it's in the prayer closet where God reveals ourselves to us. And sometimes he reveals even what your partner is struggling with, things that they don't even tell you. That's when he reveals it. So that quality time with God is so important.
I was talking to one of my buddies recently, and I was telling him, it's important that as a husband and wife, each of us, we individually seek God. And as he begins to seek God personally, and his wife begins to seek God personally, the two of them, they inevitably get closer together. So the triangle is something that I always that we've learned about during marriage counseling, and it's something that I continue to share with people, that as each individual continues to seek God, and we're talking both of them doing it at the same time, it's not just one individual doing it and the other one just there. As long as both people are seeking God and getting closer to God, they will inevitably become closer to each other.
Remember that we have to put God first in our marriage. Make him the center of your union. 2, quality time is very, very, very important. Be spontaneous, pursue each other, enamor each other, surprise each other with gifts, with love, shower them with affection.
If you know your partner loves YouTube videos, one day just come up and say, babe, I have this idea, let's record a video.
Yes, open and effective communication. Be honest and be willing to receive and to take constructive criticism and handle the truth. We have to support each other's visions, each other's dreams, push each other, support each other. And I think if we do these things, we'll be okay. With God in the vessel, you can smile at the storm.
So guys, we'd just like to thank you guys for just sitting down with us. It was a blessing to just go on a little drive with you guys and to just share what's been on our hearts. For the next video, we'd like to talk about financial stewardship. How is it that as a couple we've been able to work out the whole financial aspect? A lot of people have had questions. When I get married, how should I do the financial situation? Should we get joint accounts? Should we have single accounts? How is it that as a married couple we take the individual finances? So we're going to give you guys our story and our experiences and just some things that we've kind of picked up along the way.
And it was nice just sitting and chatting with you guys. Post your comments and your suggestions down below. Tell us what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, share with other Christian couples, and may God continue to bless and keep you guys. And remember to put God first. Bye.